Hello and welcome to NCTV episode 56 on the topic of tendon problems. Another all-encompassing word for tendon problems that fail to heal is tendinopathy, or just plain ouch if you happen to suffer from it. So about tendinopathy, a tendon is a fibrous band of tissue that connects to a muscle to a bone. There are many names for describing when a tendon is inflamed, injured or damaged, including tendinitis, tendinosis and tendinopathy, as well as tenosynovitis and tendon tear or rupture. Essentially, the umbrella term tendinopathy is a painful condition occurring in and around the tendons in response to overuse. Aging and lack of muscle tone can also play a role in its development. And it's typically seen in the elbows, the hamstring, the patella or kneecap, and the shoulder, particularly the rotator cuff. The symptoms of tendinopathy can include pain, swelling, stiffness, and restricted mobility at the affected joint and muscle weakness. 10 common causes of tendinopathy include 1. Overuse of the tendons by repetitive actions. 2. Any sporting activity that requires lots of jumping or running. 3. Running on hard surfaces. 4. Poor sporting technique or inappropriate sporting equipment, such as a tennis racket that's too heavy. 5. Lifting weights that are too heavy. 6. Neglecting to warm up properly before or cooling down after sport. 7. Not taking enough rest between training time sessions to allow for the full recovery, that is. 8. Exercising in cold temperatures. 9. Awkward positions that are maintained for a long time. And 10. Being obese, which puts excessive pressure on the tendons of the legs. Ways to manage mild cases of tendinitis at home include stopping the activity that triggers the pain, rest the area. Trying to work through the pain will only make the symptoms worse and delay the healing. As symptoms lessen, use the area as normal because total immobilization or rest can make the problem worse. Regularly apply ice packs to the affected area as needed in the first few days to help reduce swelling and pain. Next, the time to seek medical advice for tendinopathy is if it's severe or persistent, or if the symptoms haven't improved after a few weeks of home treatment. To reduce your risk of tendinopathy, here are a few things you can do. Lose the excess body fat if necessary. Make sure to thoroughly warm up and cool down before and after exercising. Make sure you maintain good form when participating in your chosen sport or exercise, and resist the urge to push too far too fast. Reduce the risk of overtraining by participating in a range of exercises and sports. Wear footwear that's appropriate to your sport. Use professionally fitted inserts if you have bow leg or flat feet, for example. Rearrange your workstation as well, or daily work schedule, to avoid too long periods in certain positions. So things like typing on the keyboard or using a hammer. And where to get help? Obviously a physical therapist such as an osteopath or a physio. Also a podiatrist when appropriate, and not to mention your doctor. When it comes to treatment, something to be mindful of, research now suggests that there's no evidence that NSAID actually helps, and in fact it can slow down the recovery process. Things like your anti-inflammatories, that is. Additionally, it's been shown that corticosteroids provide only temporary relief, and they don't really have too much of a long-term benefit. With that in mind, physical therapy remains a great first line of treatment, and reviews suggest that eccentric strengthening exercises are a good form of physical therapy to be performed for up to 12 weeks. Initially, the aim is to reduce the load on the tendon and to reduce the pain, and then it's about restoring the strength and the function of the tendon gradually to preserve its long-term health. Note that it's important to still be lightly active to maintain your strength and overall health, and as an example, it's worth considering low impact activities such as swimming to aid your recovery. So what are eccentric exercises? If you imagine you're holding a dumbbell ready to do a biceps curl, instead of bringing the wrist towards your shoulder, which is called a concentric exercise where you overcome the force, you slowly allow the weight to overcome your force, which causes your muscle to lengthen whilst they're contracting. Other examples of this may be squats for your knees, or a tiptoe type exercise on the stair where you allow your heel to drop off the step for your Achilles tendon. You can also try R.I.C.E, the method R.I.C.E, which is often very effective for tendon injuries, and that involves rest, ice, compression and elevation. So rest, you stay off the affected body part as much as you can. Ice, you wrap ice in a towel or something similar and apply it to the area for about 10 minutes. Compress, you use an elastic bandage over the area, but not too tight. And elevate the area, keep it raised on a pillow or other device, and this helps to reduce the swelling. Finally, on the topic of treatment, as a last port of call, if after a combination of home treatment and physical therapy, your symptoms aren't showing any signs of improvement, then it may be time to consider tendon repair surgery. So how can you prevent tendinopathy? Well, here are 5 ways. 1, vary your exercises. 2, include warm-up and cool-down exercises and stretches in your routine. As a general rule of thumb, a good warm-up is say 5 minutes for every 30 minutes that you've got planned for exercise. 3, try to prevent repetitive use of the same joint, resting it when possible. 4, make sure to wear appropriate footwear or other equipment. 5, slowly increase your exercise load as a dramatic increase in the tendon use can pose a risk to overuse tendinopathy. And that's it for this week's bite-sized bit to help your health flourish. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.